the realtor, we said, hey, for what you guys are looking for to build new and this type of budget, there are some great things up in Forsyth County. And I said, that's not an option. Why did you even mention it? Mm-hmm. I'm like, why did you even say Forsyth County? I'm not doing that. Do you know it? You know?
And every day I drive past a spot in the middle of downtown Forsyth County where black people were executed, hanged, and for crimes that they didn't commit.
Yep.
And I'm reminded on how thousands of black people were excommunicated out of Forsyth County. So what does it really feel like to be the only black person in the room? Are we even allowed a seat at the table? And why is it such a struggle for us to get a seat at the table? Recently, we've seen a lot of different things going on. The elimination of diversity programs, we've seen protests against affirmative action, and even disinformation campaigns to continue to sow discord and division. Well, there's still black people today that are making history every single day by using their influence in predominantly and historically white environments. Here at the When All Hell Breaks Loose podcast, we want to give you practical tips on how to succeed in life's toughest challenges. And today, we're going to have a discussion with my good friend who is doing just that, leveraging his influence in a predominantly white environment to really move things forward for the community. I want you to welcome my good friend and community leader, Mr. Jonathan Hall.
Wow, man. I was wondering who you were talking about, bro.
Man, I'm talking about you.
I was going to get up and leave the room and go, let whoever you were talking about sit here. But,
man, you.
I appreciate that. Thank you, brother.
It,
honored to be here, man. Excited about it.
Man, Jonathan, man, it is such an honor, man. You do so much. And what people don't really realize is the work that you're doing right now. Mm-hmm. And I just want to give a highlight to what you're doing.
Okay.
Right? First off, you live in Forsyth County, Georgia.
That's correct.
Forsyth County. Now, for those that don't know, mm-hmm. Forsyth County is historically one of the most racist counties in the United States of America. We were called, and I say we because I live there too.
Yeah.
All right. Y'all don't come to my house.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But I live there too. In Forsyth County, Georgia, we were historically called one of those sundown towns.
That's correct.
Right. That's when you are advised for black people, don't be caught in this town after sundown.
That's right.
Because
That's
negative things will happen. You may be killed. You'll definitely be run out or something like that.
Yep.
So right now, you are leading a charge in Forsyth County, Georgia, and you're getting so many others involved and using your influence as a black man in a predominantly white community. Tell us a little bit about your work.
Wow, thank you again for the opportunity. So back in August of 2023, the Lord mentioned to me that I was to start a group of men coming together, black men, African-American men in Forsyth County, to build relationships of integrity with each other. And I said, there's not very many of us here, number one. Number two, even if they do come to this monthly breakfast, why would they come back? What do I have to offer? But I'm working harder to hear him more clearly and obey more quickly. So I said, okay. So I go through my phone, literally go through my phone, and I find 10 brothers that live in Forsyth County. And I just texted him, said, hey, man, the Lord told me to do this, so I'd love for you to come and join us. I don't have an agenda. Just come. We're going to chill, build relationships of integrity with each other. That very first meeting, August of 2023, I had 14 people there. Only knew 7 because I said, hey, if you know somebody, bring them. So I only had 7 guys there. And so here, about a year and a half later, we're still going strong. About a couple of months after I started it, though, the Lord said, I need you to add another element. I want you to also, as this group, build relationships of integrity with community leaders. And I'm like, well, how is that supposed to work? Well, amazingly, the guys that were coming were already connected to the right people. So they would invite me to a city council meeting, to a chamber meeting, to a One Forsyth meeting, and then I would get connected to other people, and that's how I got more involved in the community. So that's how I started.
Wow, wow. And not to blow past any of the significance of what you're doing, but even to give the people more insight into Forsyth County.
Yeah.
Forsyth County In 1987, Oprah Winfrey did a show, and one of her shows, and it was really about the racism and within Forsyth County. And that show, if you have not seen it, go out. It's still out there on YouTube. But in 1987, Oprah Winfrey did that show, and it made national, actually worldwide headlines.
Exactly right.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it was about the racism, the Ku Klux Klan, and the work that was still being done in regards to keeping black people out. Not only that, but I live in Forsyth County, and I'm always sent information, Instagram, Reels, and all this stuff about how racist Forsyth County is. Yeah. And every day I drive past a spot in the middle of downtown Forsyth County where black people were executed, hanged, and for crimes that they didn't commit. Yep. And I'm reminded on how thousands of black people were excommunicated out of Forsyth County. So when we talk about the racism and the racist history of Forsyth County, let's not blow past and just say, hey, there was just regular racism.
Exactly
like,
right.
You know, hey, you N-word type racism. No, it was like, no, you're N-word, we're going to beat you, we're going to hang you, we're going to cut your feet off, everything else, right? That's right. So now you're in this spot where you're bringing people together. Yeah. Now, how have you attracted more people, but not just more black people? How have you brought in white people to come alongside you and further the cause?
That's a great question. My goal is to build relationships. And the way you build relationships is that you go where people are and you listen and you ask questions. Even with the Brothers of Forsyth at our monthly meeting, when I have a community leader come, we just ask them 3 questions. What's a day in the life like for you? What are some of your pain points? How can we help you? So that when people hear that, they're usually, especially as a community leader, they're surprised. Because usually when they come to events like that, people have a laundry list of problems. Yeah. Why are my taxes high? Why are there potholes in my street? Those type of things. Not that those aren't issues, but my goal is to help them understand that there is a group of African-American men that are invested in this community and want to help you, and we are a resource. Wow. So usually they kind of go back and talk to their friends and family, and they kind of go, oh, this happened. And then the word gets out, which is really surprising to me when people have come to me and said, hey, I've heard about this Brothers of Forsyth thing. What is that? And I'm like, I don't know you. How did you find out? So I've learned that strategy has worked well, that you just seek to serve, seek to know, and seek to see how you can help people. And that's helped me out a lot.
You said it too fast. All right. Because you're dropping gems now, right? Because it's not just your strategy. Now the question becomes, how do we leverage who we are, right, without losing who we are, and utilize that to come into places that really historically hadn't welcomed us, but still gain a level of influence and begin to influence those for the betterment of all, not just us, right? So say that again, because that's really critical. I mean, you be dropping gems just all cool and stuff, man. Come on, man. Give it to me, man. Real talk.
What's amazing is that before August of 2023, I was not involved in the community. Before I started Brothers of Forsyth, that same month, I left my corporate job to run my consultation business full time. So this was like 2 weeks. So that was a big month for me. So one of the things I was able to do is I had more time because I had more control of my schedule. So I wasn't really involved in the community a lot. And because that's kind of my personality, to seek to serve, kind of low key. So it's really worked well when people understand you want to know more about them and see how you can help them. That changes everything. Yeah. And when I build relationships, then I gain trust and I gain credibility. So when I talk to the chief of police, or when I talk to the associate superintendent, VP of HR of the school system, and I say, hey, I got a great applicant. Well, I have credibility and I have trust because of the relationship that I built. And so they're like, well, hey, send me that person's name. Let me see how I can help you. Because initially, when we met, how can I help you? Yeah. And so that changes the dynamic.
So what's one of the things that shocked you the most about your reception from the community? And when I say the community, I mean like not the Brothers of Forsyth, not the brothers. You know? I'm not talking about the brother man, I'm talking about the other man, you know? What shocked you most about the response from the other man?
What shocked me the most was how many allies there actually are there, and these allies are people of influence. That surprised me. It also surprised me how they wanted to know more about me. Because another thing that the Lord had me do, he said, be specific about who you are. You are to say this. You are building a group of African-American men in this community to build relationships of integrity with each other and with leaders in this community. That's what you say. If they receive that, good. If they do not, move on. And that's just how it's been.
Now, you say relationships of integrity.
Yes.
Let's hone in on that, right?
Yes.
You're very intentional about not just relationships, but relationships of integrity.
That's exactly right.
You know, please expound.
We don't need people talking about stuff that's not moving us forward for good. I don't have time for that.
Now, when you say us, you mean?
Black men.
Okay.
We don't have time for that.
Yeah.
So I want you to know that once a month you're going to get together with some guys. If you're going, you know what, man, I'm kind of struggling this month. My kid, they don't even listen. I'm tired of telling them. You don't need somebody to go, well, bro, just kick them out, whatever. You need somebody to go, man, my experience has been leaders are repeaters. So if you're going to be a father, you need to be okay with being a repeater.
Yeah.
Because you need to repeat that over and over to your kid, because leaders are repeaters. And that's what we do. And you need somebody,
I wasn't expecting you to give me that one.
You need somebody to walk beside you and give you that.
Yeah.
And go, man, it's cool. I know we all can be frustrated and be there for each other. So it's important because men don't handle emotions well. Black men especially. And if you're a black man in Forsyth County, you have a tendency to kind of watch your back and just kind of wonder because of the history.
Right.
So it's important to have those relationships. So when I say build relationships of integrity, that's what I mean.
Okay.
We're not talking about the strip club. We're not talking about all this kind of thing. We're building relationships of integrity with each other to build you up. And also, I hope one of the benefits, at least one of the benefits of being a member of Brothers of Forsyth, you have that connection with somebody, but also you've come to a meeting and you've seen the chief of Cumming Police, PJ Gervin, and you've had a chance to talk to him. So you have a different perception of police, because we know there has been issues with police and black men all across the nation. So to be there across from PJ Gervin and say, hey, what about this? What about how many black officers you have? And have them break down and talk about, do you have somebody I'd like to recruit and interview him? And you're going, oh, I don't know you're going to throw the question back at me.
Right.
Because that's what he's about.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you leave with going, oh, wow, I have a different mindset and understanding. Even, and I'll add this, Chris, at our meeting where PJ Gervin was there, one of the chief of police, of Cumming Police, PJ Gervin, one of the Brothers of Forsyth said, this is going to be the first time I've ever shaken a cop's hand.
Wow.
He grew up in St. Louis. Shout out to those in St. Louis. But he grew up in St. Louis.
East.
Not
the Illinois side. The Missouri side.
But he was coming from his experience.
Yeah.
And he's like, when I grew up, the police didn't address me as sir and ma'am. You know what I mean? And it was usually a bad situation.
Right.
So for Chief PJ Gervin to come to our meeting, talk to people, ask questions, for other members of Brothers of Forsyth to talk about they've had good encounters with the police and they said, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, and those kind of things. Dude was like, yo, this is going to be, and this dude was, I would say, in his 60s.
Wow.
So imagine you've been 60 years old.
Never shaken.
And you've never shaken or even thought you even met a police officer, somebody in law enforcement that was worthy of that.
Right.
So when I saw that happen, I told Chief, I said, this is not just an everyday thing, though. Yeah. This is a big deal.
So let's back up a little bit.
Yep.
Why did you move to Forsyth County? And how long have you been there?
Been there 6 years.
Okay.
So it's been 6 years and a couple of months.
Okay.
When my wife and I moved to Georgia 10 years ago, we initially lived in Sandy Springs, and they wanted to buy a house. And the realtor, we said, hey, for what you guys are looking for to build new and this type of budget, there are some great things up in Forsyth County. And I said, that's not an option. Why did you even mention it? I'm like, why did you even say Forsyth County? I'm not doing that. Did you know it? And then they said, will you just come take a look? And we took a look, and that's when they were building the new Super Kroger. And I was like, what is that? And they were like, that's going to be a Super Kroger. I'm like, a Super Kroger? What's that? And they explained it. I'm like, okay. And then I saw the Denmark High School. They said, that's going to be a new high school right there. I said, okay, they're building a new high school. They're building a Super Kroger. My taxes are lower. It's beautiful trees and hills. And I'm getting a house with these amenities at a less expensive cost. And the schools are top notch.
Now, did you know about the history?
I did.
Okay. So one of the things I want to point out is I hadn't lived in Forsyth County as long as you. And when I was about to move to Forsyth County, when I talk to people, when you say Forsyth, people still say, oh, you live up there, right? Yeah. Now, that, I get it, right? Because of the history, right? So, but one of the things that I had to do was talk to black people that actually live there now, right? Yeah. And so now you briefly talked about things changing, right? Initially, we talked about the racism and running black people out, and now we have a growing number of minorities coming into the community. Yeah. Now, let me understand, and you mentioned it. You said some Chamber of Commerce. You said City Council. You said One Forsyth. Those types of things. Now, I'm going to ask you. I know the answer to this question, right? All right. But I want you to help people understand. How did you? Because you, that brother. If we get only one seat. Right at the table, right? You, that brother, you've talked about meeting chief of police, superintendent of schools, and the butcher, the baker, the chemist, everybody else, right? If there's one brother that's got a seat at the table, it's been you, right? And you've been making connections. How did you get a seat at the table?
That's a great question. There were those that were there before me that took the hits.
Wow.
They took the hits for me, and they are walking beside me now.
Wow.
And they literally have said, it's your turn.
So they didn't quit.
What's interesting, when they met me, they said, what are you doing? That's already been tried before. They said, but you look a little different, and you're going about a little different. So let me see how this works out for you. And then they kind of said, okay, I see. And they just said, what do you need? So when you talk about how I became that person, it's because people who went before me, they took a lot of the hits, they bumped their head, then I come along, they say, okay, I see what you're doing, and they're walking beside me. There are literally people that I call and go, I'm getting ready to go to this meeting and meet so-and-so, tell me about him. Or I'm getting to go to this meeting, what is it going to be about? What do I need to be prepared for? So it's not just me, I'm literally taking them with me.
Right. So you see change taking place. People have gone before you. Now those same people that didn't have as much success, they're walking alongside of you. You know, we're in an interesting time, right? At the time of this taping, we just ushered in a new administration. And I just mentioned in the intro that we've seen the removal of diversity programs, and not just federal, but corporate, right? But so I want to ask you, do you think that may change now that there's a new administration?
Do you think
the progress?
The progress. That's a great question. I cannot believe that it will stop the progress. I'm called here for such a time as this, and that's my mindset.
And so you're still hopeful?
Very much so.
What are you excited about?
I'm excited about who called me to it. It wasn't one day I woke up and said, you know what? I should go into Forsyth County and see what I could do to change the community. No. He spoke to me and gave me a charge. And I said, okay. Then he said, this is what you're to do and this is what you're to say. And then he said, do that until I give you more instructions. And so that's what I'm doing. So if I get rejected, or if people say, who you think you are? What are you doing here? If I stop getting invited to the meetings, that's just a part of it.
Yeah, but you're still making history.
That's
right? If we look at it, right, let's call it for what it is. You know, you're still making history in a place that historically hasn't welcomed us. Do you ever think about that?
Nope.
So if I'm just coming into the community, or if I'm in another community, right, You've given a couple of things, right? And I want to narrow it down to try to give people some steps, right? On here's some tips on if you really want to move the needle. Here's some things that we're doing in historically one of the most racist places in America. Okay, what are some of those tips?
I would say that if you have kids in the school system, be a part of the school system.
Okay.
I would also say that includes going to school board meetings. I would say if you are a business owner, join the chamber.
Say that again, please.
If you are a business owner, join the chamber. Don't just join the chamber, go to chamber activities. The chamber is built so businesses can succeed and to draw more businesses to this county. Be involved. I would strongly encourage those things. I would say that also think about other things like the Optimist Club, things of that nature. I would go to city council meetings and just sit and learn and listen. And then better understand what's go to school board meetings. Like I said, go to these meetings because they're open to the public. We need your input. Give your input. Don't just sit at home and not be involved. We have the best school system in the state of Georgia, one of the top in the nation. So that's phenomenal. It needs to get better. There are things that can get better. And so we need you to be involved. So if you start doing those things, people will notice. So many things have happened to me, Chris, from me just showing up, being in the room. People will go, wait a minute, who is that?
And have you ever felt like you didn't belong?
No.
You always felt like I belong here.
Yes.
Right. So there are so many things that I can go down, right? You're talking about mindset, right? The mindset that, hey, I belong here. You're talking about allowing God to lead you in those things, and not just going off, but one of the illustrations that God is leading you is your approach, right? There's a different approach, and we're going into Black History Month and all those things, and we'll study about historical figures that led the way, but you're paving the way with a different approach. And that approach is, how can I serve?
Exactly right.
That's your first question.
Yes.
I want to encourage everybody, if you're watching this, if you're listening on any audio device or streaming service, I want to encourage you that one of the biggest ways to make a difference and one of the biggest things you can do in driving forward and being influential is coming with a servant's heart. A lot of times, Jonathan, we come in like a list of problems. This ain't that, and we come with gripes. But you've come with a servant's heart, and it seems like you said 2023. It's just been really over a year, a little bit over a year. 18 months.
It was August 2023.
So about 18. We're almost going into 18 months. And I have seen the growth of not just Brothers of Forsyth, but just the inclusion and the communication from community leaders to the men that are part of Brothers of Forsyth. And so, one, I want to commend you.
Thank you, brother.
Right? I want to encourage you.
Thank you.
But I want to also recognize that you are very hopeful. See, this is a tough time. Right? And so you are very hopeful and you're excited. What other things can we look forward to on the horizon as you guys move forward, as you incorporate others, and even possibly, be...
Nope.
What?
Nope.
What?
So some things I'm looking forward to.
Run for office. You gonna run?
No. I don't see myself running for office right now.
Jonathan, he's our man. If he can't do it, no one can.
But hey, I didn't see myself living in Georgia. I didn't see myself living in Atlanta. I didn't see myself being involved. So I'm just staying open to it. But it's not a goal. My goal is to create spaces where African American men can get information. So if they're interested, they can run for these offices with the right information and the right relationships and the right support. It's nothing like somebody wanting to be a leader in the community and they have no skin in the game. They don't care. They don't even know anything about it.
Yeah. And one of the things I want to encourage, Jonathan, for you to keep going is because right now we're in a season where we're in transition from administrations and we're starting to see some things take place quickly, right? And historically, we've seen that there have been periods where this stuff happens,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know, this is the When All Hell Breaks Loose podcast.
Yeah.
We've seen all hell break loose,
Yeah.
right, in some communities.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I appreciate is that you mentioned relationships of integrity with amongst the brothers, but also in the community.
Yep.
And I want to encourage people, because that when all hell breaks loose, it's those relationships that you'll lean on. Right. A lot of times we go in these pockets and we want to see change, and we see change manufactured. Right. We see change of behavior, but not necessarily change of character. Right. And so, or any real change. Yeah. And it's through those relationships that we can leverage that we'll see real change. Because when change is manufactured, when all hell breaks loose, and there's, you're falling by the wayside, exactly right? Nothing is done. Yep. And we've seen that all across the board in many communities and many organizations. And so I want to ask you, how are you positioning the group and yourself to influence guardrails so that, we prepare for war in times of peace, right? So that we don't have those moments of all hell breaking loose and we're in a position to continue to drive things forward. So what would you like to see happen? And what would you like to see from the group and for others across the country as they prepare for transition?
I want us to get more information. I want us to get more education about city council, about how the school board is run. I want people to get more information and make decisions based on information. That doesn't mean you can't be passionate. So really, for the Brothers of Forsyth, I'm encouraging them, like I said, go to these city council meetings, go to these school board meetings, be involved in the schools, be a mentor, ask what is needed. Ask the city leaders, what do you need? And do it. Plug in the hole. When you think about law enforcement, when you think about community activities, when you think about the school system, when you think about economic development, one of those things resonates with you. So plug that, what do you need over there, and plug that hole and be a part. So when things go bad, you are seen as a resource. And people go, oh, he's been here serving. He's been here getting information. He's been here trying to be an asset. Let me go to him. And so that's where it changes, where when things seem to be okay and you're asking questions, you're getting information, you're getting knowledge, you're building relationships. So when things turn, you're already that person. You're not a stranger. Oftentimes when things go bad and we go and make a complaint or make a statement, they go, well, who are you? Where did you come from? I've never seen you before in my life. What are you talking about? But they see me at the city council meetings. They see me in places. Not that I've done all these amazing things, but people are starting to recognize he's here, and not just when there's a hot topic. So I would encourage people to be involved consistently, be educated consistently, seek to serve. That's what I would say.
Now, as I wrap this up, I'm going to ask you, how does it feel to be the only black person in the room?
It's funny because I was born and raised in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, so it was not unusual for me. So it's interesting how we think about things that could be difficult and could be a hindrance, actually an asset. So when I'm here, it's like, oh, I'm used to that. When I was in the second grade, they decided to start integration. So they bused me to the white part of town, and I basically had to fight every day.
Did you win?
Yes, I had to.
You got hands?
No, but sometimes I lost.
Oh, okay.
But we got them back.
Don't tell them that. Okay.
So when I look back on it, Chris,
y'all heard it on the When All Hell Breaks Loose podcast. Jonathan Hall got them hands.
I'm not going to say. But it's interesting when I look back on that, I'm like, so it prepared me today to be in those rooms. And it's not as difficult.
So you've been prepared. So it's not as difficult. For those that do find it difficult, what would you say?
I would say the why is enough to get you through. I have to be here. I've been called to be here, and I have to make changes. I look at my grandson and I go, this is the why. There are definitely times I pull up to a meeting and I'm sitting in the parking lot, Chris, going, why am I here? There's going to be a senator in the room. There's going to be CEOs in the room. These people at very high levels, and probably nobody that looks like me.
Right.
What am I doing here? And I look at his picture, and I get out the car, and I walk in the room, and I take care of business.
You're supposed to be here.
I'm supposed to be here.
And so there's a seat at the table for you.
Yes, sir.
God put you here.
Yep.
In that seat.
Yep.
If there's anything that I can leave with people is, yes, sometimes it's uncomfortable. When you're the only minority, you're the only black person in the room, and you're in a room where you're not sure about your influence, the main thing that I want people to know is that you're here because you're supposed to be here. God put you here, and now you got something to do. Well, I'm going to use that. We're going to just drop the mic on that. I'm going to just use that to just wrap it all up. Jonathan, I want to thank you, man.
Thank you, brother.
I truly applaud your efforts.
Appreciate it.
I have been a champion in the background and just letting you know, just singing your praises. And so I just really want to congratulate you on just the effort, just encourage you, keep it going. But before we take off from here, let them know how they can find you, how they can get in touch with you.
Check out my website. My name, JonathanMHall.com, spelled in the biblical way, JonathanMHall.com.
For those that don't read the Bible, Jonathan.
That's hilarious, bro. JonathanMHall.com. You get all my other stuff from there. And JonathanM Hall.com.
Good deal. Jonathan, man, I love you. You have been a dear friend. I'm so proud of you. I think we should continue to celebrate the progress and just recognize that, hey, there's still work to do.
That's exactly right.
But you know what? We are making headway. And if you're in your community, there are things that you can definitely do to get involved. Go to school board meetings, get involved in your child's school, go to the Chamber of Commerce. That's where money and business is taking place, and business is being attracted to communities. Also, go to city hall meetings, get involved, get in the know. But most of all, go with a servant's heart. Say, hey, how can I serve? One of my biggest pet peeves is people that come with problems with no solutions or even want to work towards a solution. So go out there, get involved, and come join us. Go out there, join us on the When All Hell Breaks Loose podcast. Subscribe, like us on all the social media channels. That's YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your streaming, Apple Music. Go out there, subscribe, and tell your friends, tell your neighbors, even tell your enemies, but tell them with love to check us out on the When All Hell Breaks Loose podcast. I am Chris King, and I just want you to know that life is worth living, and so are you. Y'all be blessed.